Welcome to Color Harmony. My name is Eric Francis. In this video, we'll be painting curly hair. So I make a drawing, then I redraw it on the canvas, I give it an umber wash, and we're ready to begin. Let's go. So I have some canvases that I'm really not loving so much. There's something weird about the gesso that they use. It's almost like plastic. It makes the canvas not so absorbent. So what I did was I added 10 layers of gesso, and I sandpapered in between like the 5th and 7th layer to remove all the texture. I then added an additional 7 layers of absorbent ground. It's a product made by Golden. It sort of gives the canvas the look and feel of paper. And if you paint really thin on it, it gives a watercolor kind of look. It worked out pretty good, but I need to test it out a few more times. Before we begin, I want to introduce you to the process I use to make this painting with a pen drawing. What we have in figure A is one lock of hair. I like to imagine curly hair like a spring that you stretch out. Now if it catches the light just right, it'll be a highlight. And of course the places that get less light are shadows. And the area in between would be the midtones. And then there's always these little frizzy stray hairs. In this next drawing, I start off with a basic outline. In figure C, we're looking at the shadows. It's very important that you be able to look at these individual shapes and see them as things and be able to clearly identify them. In figure D, I shade them in and I refine them a bit. In figure E, we add the midtones. What we're doing is we're filling in the space between the shadows. In figure F, we're polishing it up. I make the darks darker, and I begin to round out the midtones. In figure G, we finish off on the drawing. That's when I add all the little extra details. I actually finished it off with a pencil. I use the pencil to add the little frizzy hairs. That's usually the last thing I do. Now that you have a basic understanding of what we're trying to accomplish, let's see how this translates into a painting. It's going to be the same process, but we're going to be using a different medium. The light color you see me adding is a light midtone. The darker color is a dark midtone. Now the shapes I paint around the midtones will be the shadows, and the shapes I paint on top of the midtones will be highlights. The midtones serve as a transition between dark and light. What you're watching me do right now is wash in thin layers of paint. It doesn't really matter what medium I'm using. I always use the same process. I begin by carving out the initial shapes, and then I begin to fill in the areas around them. As you can see, I'm filling out the form with shadows. In the drawing, I started with shadows. In this painting, I started with midtones. Either way, I'm still getting to where I need to be. At this stage in the painting, I pretty much have all the elements where I need them to be. Now it's time to refine it. You see, I don't have to refine everything in one stage. It'll be way too difficult that way. This way, I begin to round out shapes and make things look better as I build up paint on the canvas. I almost always dilute my paint with medium and some water. But in the earlier stages, the paint is thicker than in the later stages. In the early stages, I want to block in major forms, and that's much easier to do with thicker paint. In the later stage, I want to convey subtle shifts in color. It's pretty easy to do when you're doing light washes. It's harder to do when you're using thick paint. Washes are translucent, so you're going to see through the color you're painting over. Success is not built on success. It's built on failure. It's built on frustration. Sometimes it's built on catastrophe. Sumner Redstone. To me, this means even though things appear to be on the downslide, keep going. Keep going. Now it's time to like, subscribe, share, or comment. There'll be a link in the description so you can go to my blog and check out some artwork or some more videos. While there, you can donate. I want to thank you guys so much for donating. that goes to pay for the price of everything that you're seeing right here. The paints, the paintbrushes, and all the miscellaneous items. There's a link on my blog that'll take you directly to PayPal. You can leave 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s, 100s, thousands. It's all very much appreciated. And remember, these videos are made in response to questions I get asked all the time, so feel free to ask. You just might see a response in the video. Peace.